Welcome back. I'm Jill with the carefreekitchen.com, and today I'm going to be sharing with you one of my favorite things to make for friends and family. This is my fresh fruit cake, and this cake is so fun to make and even more fun to eat. It is filled with bright, beautiful colors, and best of all, it's healthy and everyone loves it. So I made this for a friend, and she was on a little bit of a health journey, and one of her favorite things is fresh fruit. She said that one of her love languages is fresh fruit cut up. So I thought this is a perfect opportunity to experiment and have some fun in the kitchen. So follow along as I show you how to assemble this fresh fruit cake. Okay, so a couple things to keep in mind for this cake that will make your life a lot easier is you are going to need kebab sticks. Okay, so these are my skewers that I used, and this is just a wooden kebab stick. So I had some long ones to attach the top and the bottom. And then these are some, they're probably maybe 4 inches long, and then just like a regular toothpick size. So I'll show you how I use those along the way. The second thing is you can use all different kinds of fruit. I used a pineapple for the base, a watermelon for the top, and I made the pineapple a square shape and then the watermelon more of like a cylinder shape. That works great. It was really really fun to watch it come together. But you can use mangoes, you can use strawberries, you can use blueberries, you can use raspberries. Whatever is on sale at your supermarket is going to be perfect. There's lots of ways to like make this come together. Follow along and I'll show you step by step some of the tips and tricks I used. So to get started on this cake, I cut up my pineapple, and I'm going to speed this up so that you don't have to be drug into the whole thing, but I'm going to cut off the top and then cut off the bottom, and I like to shave off the sides, and you want to get all those little like pineapple eyes and be sure and cut all of those off. All of your fruit that you're using, be sure also to wash it and pat it dry, and that will help your fruit stay fresh for a little bit longer. As I'm cutting up this pineapple, I want to be sure and have a really sturdy base. And so I'm going to cut this in like a cylinder shape, and that will hold the weight of this entire cake. When I'm cutting my fruit, I want to also be sure that I have a very level bottom. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up my watermelon, and this watermelon I found was just a mini watermelon. I actually made this in February, so it was like a little bit tricky to find a big watermelon, but they did have some little ones in the store when I made it. And I cut the tops off of that, and then also just used a sharp knife and shaved all of the rind off of that watermelon. And you want to be sure that your watermelon is like pretty firm too, because you're going to be sticking other fruit into the sides of this watermelon. This one I'm going to make into a square shape, and I think it's kind of fun in this cake that I have like the cylinder bottom and then the square shape, because that just brings a little bit more variety and texture to the cake. I'm also going to cut just a little slice off of it, and I thought it would be so fun to use a cookie cutter and make like some little shapes. So any leftovers that you have or big chunks of fruit you have, like grab your cookie cutters, and it's going to be really fun to like make different shapes and textures for your cake. Okay, so the skewers that I showed you in the beginning of the video, this is where those come in handy, and I'm just going to use a big nice long one, and you can just snip that off with some really sharp scissors, or even a knife would work okay. And I'm going to secure that into 2 places, and then your cake base is all ready to go. The next thing I'm going to do is cut up some kiwi, and I think kiwi are so gorgeous, and I'm just going to make a zigzag pattern, and then when you open that, it is just so beautiful and looks just like a flower. Isn't that just so perfect for this cute little cake? And I'm just going to use those skewers and then tap my kiwi down on top of the skewer, and that will hold that in place. And the thing I'm doing here is I'm going to anchor this cake with fruit, with like the bigger fruit. So I'm going to start with, of course, my base, and then the bigger fruit, the kiwi, and then I'll move to like my strawberries and any other bigger fruit that I have there too. So I'm going to put the kiwi on the bottom and on the side, and I kind of want to make like an S curve with my fruit so that it has like a nice pretty texture on the outside. Okay, so now I'm going to cut up a mango. So on a mango, there's the pit inside. So I'm just going to cut as close as I can on both sides there. And then I'm going to use my cookie cutter and make a cute little shape on it. So we will anchor that close to the kiwi also. Okay, and then my watermelon, I have my cookie cutter there for my watermelon. And I'm just going to use a skewer here and put that on the side. And if your your kebab stick is like a little bit long, just use like the end of a knife and you can just tap that in really gently until you can't see that. Your part will stay there and you won't be able to see it. So also when you're eating this, be careful with kids so that they don't accidentally eat a toothpick or something. So I'm gonna use the mango on top, and then I have these really big juicy blackberries. So I'm gonna put those on with just a toothpick and anchor them around my bigger fruit, my kiwi and my mango. And so now it's just creating this pattern, and you can kind of experiment and don't be afraid to like take a few things off if you need to, but I wanna make that S curve around the top and then the bottom. You could go straight down the sides, but I wanted to have like kind of an artistic S here on my fruit cake. The great thing about this cake is that they're all going to turn out beautiful. If you just use some contrasting colors and contrasting fruits, it's going to be beautiful. I mean, you could make this out of just mangoes and blackberries and it would be gorgeous also. So if you're having a color theme, like this is the perfect cake to do that. Like a red theme or a pink theme would be a really fun way to like switch up the variation on this cake. But today I'm using every kind of fruit that I could possibly find, everything that was big and juicy, and found a few things on sale too. Okay, another thing that you want to do is you can space out your fruit. So on the blackberries, I have it like every 2.5 or 3 inches, and this gives some rhythm to the colors. You could leave the like little stems on there. You could also put in some fresh basil, some fresh mint. Would be really pretty to have like sprigs of mint like on the side, almost like a floral arrangement, but it's on a cake. You could also put some edible flowers on there, some nasturtiums or some pansies or some roses. I mean, I probably wouldn't eat them, but they are edible. Do that with what you want. Anyways, that would be really a cute way to do a variation of this cake also. And on the strawberries, I am cutting off the stem side and then sticking it on there because I like the shape of the berry. But you could definitely turn it around the other way and do that too. So depending on how fresh the leaves are on your strawberries. And the last thing I'm going to do is add my raspberries and my blueberries. And again, like spacing them out evenly is going to help your cake just look a little bit more cohesive. Okay, so be sure when you are making your cake to save any of the scraps of fruit that you have. You can maybe use them on the cake, or if nothing else, you can just eat it fresh or put it into a smoothie for tomorrow morning. Don't waste any of this. We're going to put it all to good use. So this cake, you could also put like a fresh glaze on it, like a fruit glaze. You know, there's like one with like simple syrup that you can make, or you can put like apricot preserves, like heat it up and it will like, you know, be like kind of a glaze on top. But I wanted to keep this healthy, and I know my friend was like on a health journey, so I didn't do that this time, but that's definitely something you could do to like make it really pretty and glistening. Okay, so I have a few grapes that I'm finishing up here, and then a few blueberries, just sticking those in place. And this is my fresh fruit cake. What do you think? I think it is so beautiful and looks so yummy. It's the perfect cake to celebrate any occasion or the special person in your life. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Carefree Kitchen and learned a few tips and tricks to help you when you are making your fresh fruit cake. This really is so fun to make for Father's Day or Mother's Day or just a fun weekend with friends and family. So thank you so much for watching this episode of the Carefree Kitchen. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow, and I will show you all kinds of fun and easy recipes that your family will enjoy. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.